Welcome back, everyone. Today's episode is all about simple but essential English for talking about your daily routine. Paul, let's kick off with the very first thing we all do, waking up. Can you walk us through your typical morning start?
Absolutely, Emily. Like many people, my day begins with waking up, usually around 6:30. This verb, wake up, is foundational. It means to stop sleeping. It's often followed by get out of bed, which is the physical action of leaving your bed to start the day.
That's a great distinction. Some learners confuse wake up with get up, but as you said, waking up is opening your eyes, and getting up is actually standing out of bed. Do you have any tips for remembering these?
Sure. Imagine your alarm rings. You're awake, but still lying down. That's wake up. When you sit up and put your feet on the floor, that's get up. Visualizing helps reinforce the difference.
After waking and getting out of bed, most people head to the bathroom. Paul, what are the most common actions there, and why are these verbs important for beginners?
Great question, Emily. The main verbs here are brush my teeth and wash my face. These are routine activities that almost everyone does daily. Learning them helps learners describe their mornings accurately and understand instructions in English-speaking environments.
Absolutely, and these verbs are often used in the present simple tense, since they describe habits. Can you use them in a sentence for our listeners?
Of course. For example, I brush my teeth every morning. Or, she washes her face after waking up. Notice the small difference. Brush takes an object, while wash can be used with body parts.
Let's transition to the kitchen. Breakfast is a common topic, and it's a great way to learn food vocabulary. Paul, what do you usually have for breakfast, and how can learners talk about their meals?
I usually have tea and cereal, while you mentioned having coffee and toast, Emily. Phrases like make breakfast and have breakfast are key. Learners can personalize sentences such as I have fruit or I eat a banana.
It's helpful to use real examples. For instance, I make eggs for breakfast, or I drink orange juice. These patterns can be reused for different meals, right?
Exactly. The verbs make and have are very versatile. Once you master them for breakfast, you can easily use them for lunch and dinner too, making your English much more flexible.
After breakfast, it's time to get dressed and prepare to leave the house. Can you explain some common phrases, Paul, and why they matter?
Definitely. Get dressed means to put on your clothes. Then, depending on the weather, you might put on your shoes and put on your coat. These verbs help describe the steps before going out, and they're used in almost every culture.
I like how you can combine them. I get dressed, put on my shoes, and leave the house. It's also useful to mention choose my clothes, since picking an outfit is part of the routine for many.
Absolutely, and for learners, thinking about their own routines and practicing these sentences can make the vocabulary stick. Try saying your steps out loud or writing them down in English.
Let's discuss what happens after we leave the house. How can learners talk about going to work or school? Are there differences for people who work from home?
Yes, there are. Common verbs include go to work, go to school, or simply leave the house. For remote workers, you might say, I start work at home. It's interesting how daily routines have shifted with more people working remotely.
Indeed, the pandemic made work from home a global phrase. Learners can also use commute, as in, I commute to work by bus. This expands their vocabulary and allows them to describe their unique routines.
Exactly, and adding details like your mode of transport or work location makes conversations richer. For example, I take the train to the office, or I log into my computer at home.
Now that we're at work, let's highlight typical office and remote work activities. What are the most useful verbs for this part of the day, Paul?
Some of the most important are sit at my desk, work on my computer, answer emails, write reports, and have meetings. Whether you're in an office or at home, these actions are common in many jobs.
And meetings, both in person and online, are a big part of modern work. Learners can say, I have a meeting with my colleagues, or I join an online meeting. Are there any other tasks you'd add?
Sure, tasks like prepare lessons or write articles are useful for teachers or writers. By learning these verbs, students can accurately describe a wide range of work scenarios.
Let's move on to lunchtime. Paul, how do you recommend learners talk about what they eat and do during their lunch break?
Simple phrases like have lunch, eat a sandwich, or go out to eat are very useful. You can add details like I bring my lunch from home or I eat with friends. It's a great chance to practice food vocabulary and social verbs.
Lunch can also be a social time, so mentioning talk with colleagues or take a walk after eating adds depth. What about those who skip lunch or have different routines?
They can say I skip lunch or I have a quick snack. Describing variations helps learners personalize their English and prepares them for real-world conversations.
After the workday, routines shift again. What are some phrases to describe finishing work and heading home?
The key verbs here are finish work, go home, and leave the office. These are straightforward but essential. For example, I finish work at 5 and go home. It's also common to mention transportation, like I drive home or I take the bus.
Transitioning from work to relaxation is great for learners to practice the past tense too. For instance, yesterday, I left work early and went home. Are there any cultural differences in after-work routines?
Definitely. In some countries, people go out with colleagues after work, while in others, they head straight home. Describing these habits helps learners understand global cultural nuances.
Once home, people often relax or do chores. Paul, what are some common verbs and expressions for describing evenings at home?
Typical actions include relax on the sofa, watch TV, cook dinner, and wash the dishes. You might also read a book or talk to family and friends. These verbs help describe how you unwind and manage household tasks.
I like the variety here. For example, I cook pasta for dinner, or I wash the dishes after eating. How can learners expand their vocabulary in this area?
By adding details such as try new recipes or call my parents, learners make their sentences richer and more meaningful, reflecting their real-life experiences.
To wrap up our day, let's focus on nighttime routines. Paul, what are some essential verbs and expressions for this part of the day?
Some of the most common are go for a walk, listen to music, brush my teeth, and finally, go to bed. For instance, I listen to relaxing music before bed, or I brush my teeth and go to sleep at 11. Ling.
Describing when you go to bed, like I go to bed at 10:30, also helps express habits. How important is it for learners to practice these routines in English?
It's very important. Repeating these phrases builds confidence and fluency. Learners can also try writing or saying their own daily routines to reinforce the new vocabulary and structures.
Before we finish, let's share some strategies for practicing these daily routine verbs, especially for beginners. What do you suggest, Paul?
I recommend starting by describing your own day, step by step, in English. Even writing it down helps. Use the present simple tense for habits and try to add details, such as time or place, to make your sentences more complete.
That's excellent advice. Learners shouldn't worry about mistakes. Practice is key, and the more you use these verbs, the easier they'll become. Any last encouragement for our audience?
Absolutely. Remember, language learning is a journey. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and keep practicing daily. Consistency will help you master these essential phrases and communicate with confidence.